everyone, I'm back with another video and today will be a guide to Infinite Tower. Now I can't really demonstrate you that because I'm already done, but with many people keep on asking me how to defeat it, I figured that I should do one. I have a mini guide back then, though you could say that it's not the final floor anymore, it is still usable. The tips that I give there is still true up to now. So I will gather everything that I have so far and make sure that you could use them. So this is a very in-depth guide. Now I'll divide this to three parts. Mainly one, general information as usual. You need to understand everything, and then the type of floors. Uh, Number two will be about the ideal lineup, uh, alternatives and whatnot, but basically discusses about the lineup that you have. Uh, and number three is the guide itself, but not really, because I have a video. I'll just link you on the two. Uh, I will give some additional tips more than that, what I've noticed so far. So let's proceed now. Number one, for the floors, if you're noticing, okay, I should have not went down, but the floors that we have so far is divisible by 6. If I'm computing it right, yes, this is divisible by 6. Now, why is it 6? Now, you could notice as well that whenever they add floors, it is they always add 12, which is again divisible by 6. So there's a pattern here that you should notice. Each and every 6 floors that we receive, we've got gold, gems, okay, gems, and then rubies on alternates. Now, the rewards for in between are different. There's runes, there's item draw, there's pet draws, hero draws, jewels, and much more. So that's basically the pattern for the rewards. So this will be gold, this will be gems, this will be ruby, and so on. Now, notice that we've got 6 floors, and the last floor is always the boss floor. So, and these are the types of floors. 1 to 4 are the regular floors. Basically, they will have units that will spawn via waves. May it be 3, may it be 4, whatever. Then the boss will appear at the last. Now, for the second to the last floor, which I call, to be honest, I don't know how to call this, but this is just like a regular floor, but it will spawn an additional mini boss, second to the last wave. Okay, so there's a wave, right? Okay, the units will spawn, on all corners, and then there's another batch. There are 2 batches per wave, and basically the mini boss here will appear on the second batch of the second to the last wave. I know it's hard to understand, but try noticing that because that is very important later on. And finally, we've got the boss floor, which basically is the combination of all the bosses that we faced so far, which is, see this? It's the boss here. Oh, actually not. Okay, here he is. Oh, so the boss here doesn't really appear. So the cat, Aaron. Okay, so they appear here, and then finally the main boss of the first 6 floors will be this one. And it is true here. I bet it will be correct here. Oh, it's not. But basically that is the pattern. The bosses per floor will appear on the 6th floor. So let's look at here. It's what do you call this? The name of the Batman. Oh, the Batman is here. So he is there. So basically most of them, all of them appear here, and the final boss is this one. So The strategy, why I'm telling this, because the strategy, the regular floors versus the uh, boss floor are very different. Now, for the boss with, for the floor with mini boss, it will slightly be different from the regular floors, but overall they are the same. So now for the units. Now, I did this in both of my accounts, Asia server and this in my Hermes server. Now, they are generally two different teams on how they work in scenario and PvE as a whole. I have an Erin there, which is to me the ideal healer. So let's start with healer. Now, you all you only need one healer, and you don't need the big heals here. You just need the utility that they provide, especially on the boss floor. So I appreciate Dread's very big heals to me, but Erin's invincibility is much more appreciated. And if you see my video of the me doing the last floor, well, back then you will see as to why. Um, Big heals doesn't matter because if your heal is gone and basically they have very big attacks, it doesn't. It will just you just prolong the agony basically. So just one healer is enough, but two healers is quite good. But on the final floors, I recommend just having one healer, which is Erin. If you don't have her, yes, you have no choice either way. But though Cynthia can be used as well, and to be honest, even an awakened Cynthia might be good, but the support stats of an EA is still appreciated. So I have an Erin now, but it is not the healer that I used to finish the last floor this time around. It is Dread, and I haven't used his heal. So how the hell did I do that? Now, let's go to the lead, which, to be honest, the first one that I should have discussed. Now, I've got Sherry here. Now, the ideal lead to me is Yuria or Fleta or any hero that has CC and dashes. Now, why is it important? If you see again my video, I will link it. You can use their dash to initiate, dive into your opponents, or you can use it to escape because it dashes forwards. So that is a very good utility, and Yuria is better in a sense because this has 16 seconds cooldown, while Yuria only has 14, and I have Yuria, which is only 6 star, but I will not invest on it anymore. See, 14 seconds cooldown only. Now, if you don't have them, I can recommend Vix. I can recommend Vlog because they all have CC as well. Now, if you don't have CC, flinches are fine, like Ramia's. Uh, Mistra is not. I know someone who have finished with Mistra, but I will discuss it later. Now, if I have a Fleta, why didn't I use Fleta to finish the stage? Basically, the ideal skill for leader is always Oath. Now, the benefit of Oath is better than the benefit of dashing to your opponents because most of the time you will be running to avoid your opponent's skill. And if ever they reach you, you're basically dead. But if you have Oath, you might be immune to that skill and you might be able to dodge the secondary effects that they have. For example, here you've got a petrify, you've got a freeze, you've got a confuse. I don't know about uh, Scarla, but these three are annoying for sure. The Batman, forgot his name, has flinches and knocks you back. So that is pretty annoying, but if you've got Oath, it has a good chance to proc and it will save you most of your time. Okay. Um, Other stuff. Okay, here has stun. Oh no, this has death down. I think this has stun, flinches. and powerful, but the most annoying is 130. I for this one because this one has stun, freeze, 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 freeze. Basically, everyone here has CC. This is the most annoying floor, and to be honest, hero-wise, this is the hardest because of their CC. So that's why it is very important to have Oath. And to me, like I said, I'll repeat it again, having Oath defeats the advantage of having your hero dash. So this doesn't have Oath, so I won't. And basically she has no OCD back then. So if you've got OCD plus Oath, that probably is the best, but it is not recommended for PvP anyway. I mean, yeah, it could be used, but that's not the ideal, okay? So that is the skill for the leader. The skills of your supports does not matter at all because you won't be able to use them, or you could use them in a sense if you have Will of Harmony, for example. Will of Wills, basically, it will. If you're a supporter, the stats you get here will, of course, carry over to the leader that you are trying to support. So those are the only awakening skills that matters, but other than that, they don't. So aside from that, of course, your supports are very important. To me, you will always have to reserve one spot for a nuker. Now, a nuker, I mean, how I define nuker is different, but let's say the following heroes. Reserve one spot for these heroes: Vlok, Vicky, um, Shauna. If you don't have those three, it might be difficult. At least one of them is very important. Uh, the damage they provide is very, very big. They have multiple hits times multiple projectiles, and they are powerful. So if you don't have them, then you could probably have heavy hitters like Brina, like Alex, like Mr. actually does belong to that, but her range is not ideal. So if you can, group them together, then Mr. will be appreciated. Other than that, I can't see any other heroes that deals a lot of damage. So why is that important? Basically, even if you survive against your opponents, if you don't have enough time to beat them because you're given a time limit, then it will be all for nothing. So that's why I will recommend one spot for nukers. Now, Vlok is the most ideal just because aside from, dealing a lot of damage, he has a stun. So if they actually get to survive, there's a chance that they will be stunned, and that is amazing. Oh, it's only 4 seconds. Didn't know that, but yeah, that's it. Uh, if you've got Vicky, that's fine. Curse is very helpful as well, and obviously does more damage than Vlok. And Shauna is just, very powerful as a whole. And her support stats is actually better than those two, Vicky and Block. So, they're to me they're equal. They have their own strength and weaknesses, but they are the best in terms of uh, killing waves fast as possible. So the other two spots you'll notice I have Reese and Fleta. They both provides CC. CC, if you don't know, is crowd control. Any disabling properties, inabilities, then it's your go-to for this. Internal injury is 7 seconds. Even though I have runes, it's PvP exclusive, so it won't have any effect here. Uh, so this is pretty good because it has a good chance to proc. Aside from that, it is for 7 seconds. So that is very good for me. But in my opinion, the best hero for this job, or basically any dungeon type that has a boss with big HP, Reese is the best. Uh, Again, Frostbite has percentage damage. Hence, despite them having big HP, she doesn't care if Frostbite procs, you're pretty much good. Anyway, so all these together, you add them up, you've got a very good team. Now, if you don't have these, any CC heroes is fine. Like Ciara has flinch, so that is fine. Provides curse as well, so that's very good. Fear, if you've got Lana, fine. But let's look at other heroes that we can use. Uh, for CC at least. Mm, oh, uh, I've got Shireen on the other server, but then again, I don't recommend it for PvP anymore. But it is one of the most perfect supporter in the game, given that it has Confuse. Where is Confuse? For 5 seconds, has a very good chance, and you know, her total support stat is unbeatable. Only probably by Ryu, but Ryu provides more bulkiness, defense, and HP rather than attack. But Shirin's defense and HP she provides isn't bad anyway. So Shirin is good in that regards. Any CC heroes I have Nyx there, which is fine, and basically any heroes with CC. But of course, the ideal ones are the ones that you have uh that I have mentioned. So if you don't have them, just use anything that you have, and that will be it. So the problem here now is, okay, I don't have any heroes that you've mentioned, so what do I do? Uh, it will be very difficult for you, and finishing it up to the last floor will be very difficult, but I know people who have finished it without them anyway, so just, the first thing is reaching 5 EAs with plus 7 and level 50 all, and having your leader with Oath. That is, of course, you have gotta have a healer, and then from then you gradually do some other stuff, or basically invest on other heroes if your 5 heroes doesn't help you. For pet, there's a pet that is very usable, which is this. It decreases their stats by 5%. Oh, not, it's more. 5 attack, 10% on defense, and 12 on HP. And this is not an awakened. If you're gonna see the awakened one, for pet books, special pet, it will be 6, 12, and 13, which is very big. Don't underestimate that. So, yeah, use those and you will be fine. Really. That helps a lot. I know someone who has beat that pretty easily by just having a pet, because he can't finish the whole 6 floors. He can't proceed, but once he changed his pet, he didn't die afterwards. So that's how big it is. So if you have all the ideal pets, all heroes and pet, then you will most likely be fine. But if you're watching this, probably you don't have. So really, I said the pattern: Oath lead, CC supports, a nuker, and a healer. And that's basically the construct of it. Now, for the tips itself, okay, aside from what I did there, basically, the idea here is, okay, let's start with this one. Of course, there is a wave, okay? Waves. So for each wave, you kite them. Don't, when one appears, kite them. There will be 2 batches that they will spawn. And when the two already spawned and you have gathered them in a common place, then that's when you try to hit them. Now, if you already got an EA, especially your supports, always use all your skills except for the second to the last wave. Reason being is that by doing that, your EA skill is already on cooldown, and when the final floor, the boss appears, you already have an EA skill, which is very good in chaining your skills. And that is the next tip that I can give, which is chaining. What is chaining? Basically, you never let yourself have the low what do you call this? Don't throw a skill when you don't have another follow up. So this is more usable in boss floors. Basically, when uh, you use your skill, you don't just use your skill right after another. You wait quite a moment and then use another. In that way, when you have your you have them used everything, then the first one that you've used will be already finished, so you can use it again, and so on and so forth. EA skill helps fill the gaps that you can use basically your skills more often because you have EA skills that is waiting for you to be used. So all in all, okay, just use them in cycles so that by the time uh you have them used all, there's another skill that can be used right after. So that's the idea of it. And don't use the heal of Erin if you've got Erin to heal yourself up, but basically use it as an emergency. Uh, if you're if you run out of skills, that can still happen. It's not the ideal world, basically. Um, Especially if your CC does not proc, then use it to run away. Okay? Don't use it to dive in. Probably some other time, but then again, if your CC does not work, you have no way to escape. So that is something uh, that I often encounter. So I really don't use Erin's skill not until I have, you know, I'm in trouble or I have other skills to use. So that is it for the skills. Um, I think I've said everything already. Basically the difference between boss floors is the boss themselves. The more CC heroes, the harder it is. But of course, here the problem here is, they're tougher, they hit harder, and I'm just thankful that there's only a few CC heroes here, and they're not even powerful ones. There's no legendary here, hence they don't have bigger stats. So that kind of sucks if you ever encounter one. For example, what, the Ryu? Where's that? It's 138. Okay, Ryu is, just a unique hero, but he has high stats for a unique hero, so it's really tough. And besides, he's got freeze, so it's annoying. So to me, as a whole, he's the hardest to beat that floor rather than the final floor. So that is it for the tips for Infinite Tower. Now, if you really can't beat it, then probably your units are not high enough. And even if your units are high enough, then probably they don't belong to the recommended team setup that I just said. Or even if you have all of them, then probably you did not equip good runes, good jewels, which I have video as well, guide about it, the ideal runes and jewel setup, and probably you don't have awakened items on them, or probably you really don't invest or care about anything. So check everything that you've got, and most likely you'll be able to beat it. Now, stats, while does matter, sometimes just a combination of units can make you finish it, especially with Reese. I can still recommend her even just 6 star in order to finish this because Frostbite is just, OP even if she's 6 star. So that is it. I think I've said everything. Sorry, this doesn't include me running the Infinite Tower itself. Because I already have a video and that's the ideal team setup anyway, at least pattern wise. So see you in the next, and goodbye.